Good evening, everyone. This is Angie Stewart from Miami Inner Light, My Inner Light, here at Kardec Radio again. We are here every 2 weeks, and it's a blessing that we are able to be here again. And if you are new here, we just would like to talk a little bit about Kardec Radio. If you know anyone that does not use Facebook, but I would like to participate of this study and of many other studies, please tell them to go directly to kardecradio.com, because when they go there, they can see all these live streaming talks and lots of different book studies, and they can also participate even if they don't have Facebook. But our class, if you are new here, it's very simple. It's only 1 hour. We study 2 books, and we are finalizing this beautiful book, Thought and Life. Today we are going to do chapter 26, Prayer. And we do it for about 40 minutes, and then the other 2 minutes we do the gospel according to Spiritism. And this book we go little by little. It's an important book for all of us. So I like to read and comment, but certain chapters Kardec dissect like a doctor, really. He dissects many little portions of the same item. So just to speed it up a little bit with the gospel, I will start doing like little summaries of certain pages, so we don't read every single page and we kind of waste a lot of time in it because we can't comment as much. So, and I also would like to talk about the other books that I am planning on studying. So our next book will be this one, Brothers of Other Lands. So this beautiful book was psychographic by Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira. It's a very, very beautiful book, and I already explained that this book was actually written in the United States when they both were visiting here, and the messages were received in English. So it's really an important book, a very special book for us that we live in different countries, and we were born in different countries, but we are now living in the United States, or many people that follow us, sometimes they are from different countries too. So this will be a great book that we will study. Another book that I really recommend to you guys to buy, it's a fake book, but don't worry, it's such an interesting book that even if it's a very thick with a lot of content, it's a very powerful. So here is the name of the book, The Spiritist Review. This is the Spiritist Review that's in English from 1858. It's really beautiful book that Kardec also this is actually the Spiritist magazine that Kardec had monthly. So he compiled all the magazines from 1 year and he put together in this book. And I recently started adding this book to our gospel at home. So my gospel at home now is very different because we study a lot of books. We study the Old Testament, the Spiritist book, this book, that's the Spiritist Review, and the Gospel. So I had to actually have extra time in my Gospel because there's so many books. From 30 minutes, we went to 45, and now we are in 1 hour. But it's great. It's only once a week, so it's a blessing. So let's start. And as I always say, if you have some water, please put next to you, and the enlightened spirits will really bless this water, and it will be like our medication through the rest of the week. So I just would like to invite you now just to relax, close your eyes for a few minutes and a few seconds, and let's do our initial prayer. Almighty God, beloved Master Jesus, thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity of being here again, studying the gospel, studying this beautiful book, Thought and Life, together with our friends, recording to the ones that will be able to listen to us later on. Thank you so much, Master Jesus, for the opportunity of being always here, spreading the good news. And please bless all of us so we can all be better inspired to talk and to listen. Thank you so much. So be it. Very good, my friends. So let's do it. So today we are in chapter 26, prayer. Hello, Saul. How are you? And I will read the chapter, and as usual, let's comment a little bit later. And today I have special comments to talk about prayer itself. So let's go. Prayer. Prayer is a divine journey of a mirror of our soul, aiming towards the higher realm, in order to reflect its greatness. Prayer is like a live appeal to the powers of the heavenly spirit. This appeal may be clothed without words, in the silent language of the vibrations of the soul. Imagine a mirror turned toward the sun to reflect its brightness into a dark pit. This is essentially the function of a prayer, as it reaches the divine love and concentrates its light upon the ignorance and suffering, misery and hatred present in the world. There are varying degrees of prayer, which begin from the simplest desire of the lowest beings up to those of divinely exalted angels. Nothing is done on earth without the desire of an aspiration that guides the steps of all creatures. Throughout the planet, prayer is the motion that sustains the cosmic tapestry. In the oceans, the ebb and flow of tides perpetuate their own equilibrium. In the plant world, it is the yearning to reach the light, to assimilate its elements. In the animal kingdom, it is the instinct of curiosity and the inquiry that mark the basic sign of reason. And in man, it is his natural concentration before any useful enterprise along the human path. When the professor plans his lesson and the physician concentrates on a remedy for a certain ailment, when an administrator devises a program to carry out a task, and the engineer works attentively on the blueprints for a certain project, in fact, all are using a form of prayer. They are reflecting on their mental screen from their past education, the science of healing, legislation, and the progress that flows from the invisible plane with abstract images before manifesting to the world. To pray is to align oneself with the greatest source of power in the universe, to absorb its riches, and to reflect the laws of a permanent renewal that govern the foundations of life. Prayer gives a spark to the hidden energies of the heart and releases them by the living and the image forming power of a thought. In turn, these images ascend to the higher spheres, touching the mind of both visible and invisible entities around us. As a result of this contract, we will receive answers from the divine plane. For the all-merciful Father manifests himself through his children who express his divine goodness. When a person turns to prayer, they touch responsive hearts. Such contacts produce reflexes of enlightenment. Through them, the Spirit silently receives the influx of divine messengers in the form of inspiration and inner help. These are the sublime servants who assist with a soul's evolution, renewing emotions and thought through which one progresses. The process of prayer is the highest means of interchange between earth and heaven. Through the divine circuit of a prayer, we ask for the support of our Creator, and the Creator responds by his unfailing principle of spiritual reflection. Thus, God stretches forth his eternal arms, so that the human race arises from the valley of a fragmented life to the pinnacles of a life of glory. Very beautiful, very really like a romantic way of seeing prayer. It's really different than what we imagine. But yesterday I was in the Spiritist Center. We were studying the gospel, and we started talking about prayer. And I was telling our friends there that if it was possible for all of us to see a person praying fervently, not that someone just repeating words, but someone really praying from the bottom of their heart. It's almost like it's coming from the top of our head, a special energy, this light. It's like this beam of light that's really reaching up. And it's almost like it's our vibration really being lifted, so we can connect with our guardian angels, we can connect with higher spirits that will be able to help us, spirits that will be able to guide us. So this message is really beautiful, and we should always exercise this power of prayer. And unfortunately, lots of times we don't do it because we get too preoccupied with something else, and we don't take the few seconds that would allow us to relax, to calm down, and really to pray. So let me just say hello to our friends who arrived here. Sol Souza, my dear, you're always here. Welcome, welcome. Regina Medi, hello, Regina. Very good to have you here. Katy Liu, hey, Katy. Are you back from China? That's awesome. I'm glad you were here with us too. Lucia Birmingham, hello, my dear. Welcome. A pleasure to have you all here. I believe Carla forgot, because Carla is always here too, but I believe she forgot today. But anyway, what I wanted to talk really was an experience that I had a few minutes ago. My son, he is only 13 years old, and was 8 o'clock and he was not home. I started getting concerned because he never did that. He never arrived so late. And but I usually feel when something is wrong, so then I get very nervous, and I was not feeling any kind of problem. So I knew he was hanging out with his friends. Unfortunately, his phone broke last night, so we had no way to get in touch with him. So I started contacting his teachers, and I started researching phone numbers from his friends. And not easy, because teenagers, they don't want the parents to contact the friends, so they hide the phones the best way possible. But I manage, and of course, I have the cell phone of some of his teachers too. So we all got together, and the teachers contacted the friends. Anyway, it was really a stressful time for us, even if it was not a lot of stressful time, because until 8 o'clock I was okay. And unfortunately, by a coincidence, my mother had two horrible nightmares yesterday with me. So uh, the nightmares were absolutely terrifying, but it was me in the dream, in her dream. And then I started becoming nervous, and I connected the dream of my mother with my son. And that's when I start panicking. And I was totally calm until 8. And then I start panicking because of what my mother told me yesterday. And of course, my poor husband, he freaked out also. We cannot contact my son. Was very stressful. Why I'm telling all this story? I'm telling all this story because usually us speakers, we have a quality, that the quality of speaking. We can talk a lot, and we are not shy to talk about anything. We talk a lot about everything, and because we like spiritism, we study spiritism, we talk about spiritism. But what I always say is that we are normal people too. And many times we are able to talk about so many things, but sometimes we forget about putting the things we talk about in practice. This is what is really difficult. I'm saying this because, when the moments that I start getting desperate, that my son was not home, I should have prayed. I should have used the power of prayer, because this would make me calmer, would connect me with my guardian angel, and was going to really help me to be able to remain calm and be reassured that everything was fine. He was soon be home, but I didn't do it. So I'm here just to testifying to you that we have the power of talking, but we are normal beings, that sometimes we also, in the moments of desperation, we don't do what we are supposed to do. So this is what we have to do, because we study so much. We understand that the prayer really helps, even if something bad already happened and we cannot change it. The prayer will be able to help us to calm down, to help us to relax with whatever we will have to face. Will give us this strength that it's so important. So this is like my testimony, my testimony for this chapter of a prayer. So we can go a little bit deeper into everything. Let me see what our friends wrote here. So Saul, true prayer is an inner communication between you and God. Yes, exactly, Saul. That's the best direct line, the direct speed ever, because it's really the direct communication. And I have a friend that many years ago, he told me that when we pray, it's like we are talking to God. So that's our direct connection, talking to God. But when we meditate, when we take that moment to relax, calm down, concentrate in our breath, in our respiration, our breathing system, we are able to listen to God. So that's when we have these ideas, these positive ideas. So it's prayer is very much connected with meditation. So if we could use both all the time, it would be really, really super special. The things like we forget, sometimes during the most important moments when we really need to exercise the power of prayer, that's when we get desperate, we get nervous, we do all kinds of things, and we don't. So it's really the prayer is our direct connection with God, and the meditation is the possibility of listening to God's answers, listening through our second thoughts, no, to our, like, we think when we are doing meditation, we start receiving lots of images, lots of thoughts, and those thoughts could be really the answers to whatever we are going through. And Saul said, "Whoa, Angela, today at my gospel home, the message was about prayer, and now you were talking about prayer." Yes, yes, Saul, we are very connected, very connected. Yes, God found him. Exactly, exactly. Very tough, very tough. When we have kids, you understand. I told him that right now he must be thinking, oh, my mother and father are so exaggerated. I just arrived home a little late because I was hanging out with my friends. But, teenagers don't understand that there are so many things out there, so many bad people that they can really hurt them. And also other things, car accidents, so many things. And when we love someone, we want to protect, and especially when it is still so young. So it's hard for teenagers to understand the parents' mind, but everything we do is always to protect the ones we love. Not easy. Hello, Teresa Castro, my dear. Very nice to see you here. Hello, Carla. You arrived. Okay. So I already told my experience of the night to you guys. So let's dig a little bit more about the message from Emmanuel. So please, if you would like to say anything, please write there, put your comments, and then we can talk about it. There is a passage that's very beautiful. Let me see what it is. But let's read this one here, for example. There are varying degrees of a prayer which begin from the simplest desire of the lowest beings up to those of divinely exalted angels. Nothing is done on earth without the desire of an aspiration that guides the steps of all creatures. So we are talking here about the different levels of incarnated and discarnated people. So let's imagine when we are in a lower grade, we also pray, because prayer is almost something that's really inside of most of the humanity. But a lot of people say, no, I don't pray. Yes, we also pray, exactly like Emmanuel explained here. Look at this, a beautiful passage that he talks here. When the professor plans his lesson and the physician concentrates on a remedy for a certain ailment, when an administrator devises a program to carry out a task, and the engineer works attentively on the blueprints of a certain project, in fact, all are using a form of prayer. They are reflecting on their mental screen from their past education, the science of healing, legislation, and the progress that flows from the invisible plane with abstract images before manifesting to the world. So Emmanuel is trying to tell us here that all those professions, when they are really working hard on what they're doing and they are trying the best possible. When a doctor is going to operate in a patient, even if this doctor is not religious, he is concentrated and he is really intimately, he is really connected with the elevated beings because he wants to do the best of his job, connecting with the scientific part that he studied and his humanity, you know, and he will be doing a job. So the enlightened spirits will be guiding him, helping him, so he can be an object of help. Yes, his profession is to save lives. There's a lot of responsibility. It's very different than a job that does not require this type of responsibilities. It's a very tough job because any mistake, he will affect his life, but he will affect his patient life. So this is really a protected job, a protected profession, because the spirits are trying to do the best in order to help the doctor, to help the patients. But even when a person is preoccupied with their job, for example, it's a father of a family and his company is not doing well and he has to make a tough decision, but he's not praying, he's not thinking about that. He's thinking just about how should I do. Even in that moment, he is being inspired because his guardian angel is there with him. We all have guardian angels at the moment, even before we are born, you know, at the moment of conception, we already have a spirit that will take care of us through our whole reincarnation. So at that moment, he's already connected with his guardian angel that's preoccupied with him and is trying to help him, is trying to inspire him. So he will have the correct decision, or maybe saying the best decision. The difference is, if this father of family, if he could in that moment really elevate his thoughts towards God, even sometimes people say, I don't believe in God, I believe in the cosmic energy. Yes, it's possible. You can call God whatever you want. You just need to understand this is something bigger than you. It's something more important than you. It's the creator. If you believe the cosmic energy is what governs the world, that's fine. God is just a name. You can call whatever you want. So if that moment that the person could really elevate his thoughts and just think, please help me to take the better decision to my family, this would happen. Because at this moment, as we saw here, there are many different types of prayer depending on our elevation, a moral elevation, our intellectual elevation, but also our spiritual elevation. Why I say spiritual elevation? Because you don't need to be a religious being to be able to do a prayer well. You don't need to. Yes, if you are, it makes so much easier, because people who are religious, from any religion, they are already connected. They already know there is something they cannot see that many times are helping them. So they are already connected to it. So this is easier for them to establish this connection. But people who are not religious, they can also establish some connection with God. And whenever we are able to establish this connection, the being of light that I always say that comes from our main chakra, the coronary chakra that stays on top of our heads, this being, this light emanates in such a strength, like it's such a big, strong being that really connects us with the elevated spirits. And if you don't know, our guardian angels are elevated spirits because they are more elevated than us. Our guardian angels, they are responsible for us. It's almost like a mother and father. They are responsible for that child, for that spiritual being. So that spiritual being will be under his responsibility through all this reincarnation, and sometimes more than one reincarnation. So they will be able to guide us in the best way possible. What happens is that, as I mentioned before, we get desperate. We think too much about our problems and we do not connect with the power of prayer. That's when we open up to many problems. We open up to obsessors to give us dark ideas, to start making us to think of horrible things that are not happening. And then it makes the process all more complicated, more difficult. So we really, really should focus and try the best way possible when we have a problem. Even before we take any decision or for best action, how to do this or how to do that, how to get help, the first thing we should do really is to pray. The first thing. After we pray, then we do everything else. And this is the best way of action. That's the best plan for all of us. So this is the way we should do. And as I mentioned before, yes, sometimes we get so stressed that we deviate and we don't really do what is the best to be done. So let me see if there is another point here that's very important. Here, Emmanuel is just saying what I said. When a person turns to prayer, they touch responsive hearts. Such a contact produces reflexes of enlightenment. Through them, the spirit silently receives the influx of the divine messengers in the form of inspiration and inner help. These are the sublime servants who assist with the soul's evolution, renewing emotions and thoughts through which one progresses. So this is exactly what I said. When we are able to elevate our thoughts, we receive all this beautiful energy that calm us down. So it will help us on how we are going to be able to process, how we're going to be able to do. What are our next points? What are our next actions? And the last paragraph is very beautiful too. Through the divine circuit of prayer, we ask for the support of our Creator, and the Creator responds by His unfailing principle of spiritual reflection. Thus, God stretches forth His eternal arms so that the human race arises from the valley of fragmented life to the pinnacles of life of glory. This is so beautiful. It's really like, if you can imagine, like we are like in a dark place, lower, and when we pray we are able to see this light opening up, and it's almost like we can see a different image. We can be teleported, we can be transported to a much better environment. So this is what we have to keep in mind. So every time we go through a problem like I did tonight, like I went through tonight, we really have to take a few minutes before we do anything else to pray and to connect with God, to connect with our guardian angel, and then we will be better guided and better inspired. So this is what we have to talk about prayer tonight. And the next chapter is a tough chapter. It's very interesting. It is about obsession. So I also love the way Emmanuel did this book, because he organized in a way that really connects everything. And it's beautiful that he talked about prayer, because it's a way for us to be stronger, to receive help, to feel better. And then he will talk about obsession. So it's like we will see the dark side. We will see the difficult that many spirits they have, and also obsession of incarnation happens a lot. So it's almost like Emmanuel is giving us this strength of prayer. So next time when we come here, we are going to talk about obsession. So we will understand how it happens, how it's formed, and how we go through it, and how the spirits who are not dealing well with us, because we probably did some many bad things in the past or in many lives ago, and sometimes those spirits did not forgive us yet. So it's important for us to understand the process of obsession, but to understand the strength of prayer before we dig into obsession. This is very interesting, Emmanuel, super smart. So now just reminding you guys again, we will start reading this beautiful book, Among Brothers of Other Lands. And this book was a psychographic by Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira. So if in your spirit center you can't buy it, try to buy it through Amazon.com, because some friends told me they were able to find it in Amazon.com. So it will be very good, because we are in lesson 26 today. So we have just 3 more lessons. So in 3 more lessons, we start a new book. So it's important that you have your book, because this new book, we are not going to be taking pictures. So it's important for you to be able to follow, if you want to have your own book, to be able to follow, not only with me reading. So let's go now to the gospel according to Spiritism. And the last time we stopped in chapter 1, number 11. It was a beautiful message of the spirit Erastus. And he was and he is disciple of St. Paul. So we have to read the comments about his message. So briefly talking about his message, he was talking about the experience of St. Augustine, and how St. Augustine became one of the biggest divulgers of Spiritism. And he's explaining that he's one of the spirits, the enlightened spirits, that really guides us here on earth right now through his life in the physical realm, but then through his spiritual realm experience. So I just wanted to read now the comment that Kardec made. So we can go to chapter 2. So let's go. If you have this version, just go chapter 1, number 11, comment. Has St. Augustine, therefore, came to destroy what he himself built? Certainly not. But like so many others, he sees with the eyes of the spirit what he could not see as a man. His unconstrained soul sees a new light, and understands what it could not understand before. New ideas have revealed to him the true meaning of certain words. While on earth, he judges matters according to the knowledge he possessed. But when a new light shone upon him, he was able to judge things more wholesomely. It was thus that he had to change his mind regarding incubus and succubus spirits, as well as the anathema that he had launched against the theory of the antipodes. And then we can read in the bottom what are succubus and the incubus. So it says that the incubus and succubus are evil spirits male and female respectively, who lie with persons in their sleep to have intercourse. So this was the idea that St. Augustine had while he was incarnated. And when he reached the spiritual realm, he was able to be more enlightened. He was able to see that's not like this. It's not exactly what he's talking about. So Kardec is commenting what happened to St. Augustine. But this happens to all of us. All of us. It's like, for example, for us, we are spiritists. We are people that really have more light regarding certain matters. It's not that we are enlightened people, no way, but we have the mind a little bit more open to understand certain things that most of the population cannot understand yet, like reincarnation, mediumship, communicability with the spirits, life after death. So there are lots of items that a lot of people say, no, I even can believe in reincarnation, but I do not believe in communication with the spirits. A lot of people say that, and then say, oh, because all the spirits are evil. And then I always say, it's not right. It's not like that. Imagine a person that's a loving person here on earth. When this person dies, is going to become evil? It's not like that. We are exactly what we are right now. That's what we become when we go to the spiritual realm. The difference is when we are in the spiritual realm, we don't have this matter. We don't have this physical body that encapsulates our souls. So we don't have this difficulty to understand many things, many things. We don't have such a difficulty. It's easier for us. So when we are in the spiritual realm, we can see things in a much brighter way. It's almost like we take this, how can I say this, scale from our eyes that don't allow us to see very well. And we are able to see and we are able to understand in a much faster speed too. So this is exactly what happened to St. Augustine. And then when he talks about the theory of antipody. So let's read what the theory of antipody is. Theory of antipody. St. Augustine thought there was no reason to believe that the humans lived on the opposite side of the earth, walking with their feet opposite ours, due to the lack of knowledge of the spherical forms of the earth. St. Augustine's opinion was commonly held before the science proved it otherwise. So we have to understand that St. Augustine, he was a person incarnated in a period of time that science was not developed yet to fully prove, because we know that some scientists already had an idea that the world was spherical, and also that the planet Earth was not the center of the universe, and the sun was the center of the universe. But as we know, the church was the power in that time. So whatever the church said, that was the truth. And many scientists, they were killed. They were killed because they disagree with the church. So St. Augustine followed the church. He followed their beliefs. And if you imagine, nowadays there are things that we say, oh, that's impossible. I have to tell you a funny story. That's me again. Many years ago, let me see, like 22 years ago, I guess, a long time ago, 20, maybe even more, like 24, 25, I don't know. But when the internet was starting in Brazil, internet's starting, it's really not developed yet. And I remember there was a soap opera that a woman from Brazil was able to meet a man from another country inside a computer. And I remember when I saw that, like 25 years ago, I was like, that's impossible. And I was saying, oh, these soap operas, they invent all kinds of crazy things. This will never happen. This is crazy. And look at nowadays. Nowadays, I'm here talking to you in your house, seeing me, and even better, people in other countries, whenever they want to turn on the video, turn on Facebook, for example, they will see this video. So technology advanced so quickly that the things that 25 years ago were impossible became absolutely possible. And we have no idea what will happen in the next 25 years because technology is like this, super, super quickly. So we cannot judge St. Augustine for believing that the earth was flat. We cannot judge him because probably we thought so too when we were incarnated in that time. But the beautiful thing is that when he discarnated and he went to spiritual realm, his mind opened up. And then he saw everything. He saw the truth. And then he came through Kardec's mediums and he started giving lots of messages, talking that he was wrong, he couldn't understand, that now he can see. And of course, always there are people who do not believe in anything. So they were saying, this is impossible because he never believed. He was fervent in his ideas. He's not going to die and change absolutely. So that's what we say about the people. If the person do not want to believe, she will see a spirit materialized and will not believe it. So there are things that we can't change in people, just the time will be able to help. So continue. Now that the Christianity has now that the Christianity has appeared to him in all its purity, he can think differently about certain points that when he was alive, but without ceasing to be a Christian people, without renouncing his faith, he can make himself the propagator of Spiritism because he sees in it the fulfillment of things foreseen. As a herald of Spiritism today, he leads us to a more careful and logical interpretation of the texts. The same is occurring with other spirits who have found themselves in a similar position. So this is very beautiful because we see that we are always evolving. We can always become better. And it's beautiful when a spirit of his level, of his degree, admits that he saw things different. And he even admits that when he was incarnated, that was his life, that was his faith. And he didn't have strength to fight against it. And he deeply believed. He believed what he was doing was right. So we cannot judge anyone because we probably did the same type of mistakes in our past incarnations. So we have 10 minutes, but I really think that I have been prolonging too much the gospel, and because it's a thick book, I think we have to dedicate more time to it in a better way, not just reading paragraph by paragraph and commenting because it takes a long time. But what I'm going to do is, starting the next time, I'm going to start summarizing. So instead of reading absolutely every single page, I'm going to start summarizing, marking the most important sentences. So we are going to be reading that, commenting, so we can speed it up a little bit and still maintain the same level of study. And I think it will be very positive, because I really hope that we can soon Be positive. We can soon start studying this book. It's a new book in English because it's very, very old in Portuguese. Spiritist Review. And the first edition is 1858. So this would be a really awesome for all of us because few people, very few people, I don't even think anyone have ever done a study in internet about the Spiritist Review. That was actually the magazine that Kardec personally wrote with his experiences, with his mediumistic meetings from that time. And it would be really exciting for all of us. So let's start doing like this the next time. And so tonight I would like to close it a little bit early, just like 8 minutes earlier. So next time we start the chapter 2 in this new way, in this more summarized way. Okay, so I would like to ask all of you to just relax a little bit, close your eyes, and let's pray. Let's do what we read and studied about it tonight with the book Thought and Life. Almighty God, our beloved Master Jesus, our guardian angels, thank you so much for another time helping all of us to be here, to be able to be connected under your guidance, under your inspiration. Thank you so much for helping us to fully understand the power of prayer. And most of all, help us to be able to put it in practice. Help us the next time we are going through an affliction, a problem, a stress. Help us, first of all, to pray, Master Jesus, so we will be able to receive your inspiration, your guidance, and we will be able to take a decision in a better way. And at this moment, we would like to ask for your loving energy to be put up on us and upon all our loved ones who maybe are not close to us at this moment, so they can also benefit from it. To all the people in hospitals, in orphanages, in nursing homes, to people in countries of war, people that are famine, to our brothers and sisters in Venezuela who are struggling so much. Master Jesus, you know everything. We don't need to tell you, but we just wanted to send a little bit of our love to all those places. Thank you so much for our lives. Thank you so much for the opportunity of this reincarnation. Please help us to come back again in 2 weeks. So be it. Very good. So my friends, thank you so much. Have a blessed night, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Have a great night. Thank you. Thank you.